Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Rukmani Mataji, Jai Prabhu, Partha Prabhu, Praveen Mataji, Vijay Prabhu, and Sarveshya Mataji. Thank you all for joining. I think we can make a start now. So let's talk about Srimad Bhagavatam, and then we'll do some attentive japa, couple of rounds later on. And as you know, this is the last day of the Purushottam month. So let's take full advantage, and everything is auspicious many times, many folds. So let's make a start. Do a quick prayer first of all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So today we talk about Paundraka, the false Vasudeva. I think most of you probably know the pastimes behind this, but it's still interesting to go through it. It's auspicious, and also, we can break it down and discuss it as well. That's the main thing. I mean, there's a lot of stories in Srimad Bhagavatam that we already know, but when you break them down and discuss them, you see a different picture, and we learn so much from it. Story itself is one thing, but what can we learn from it? What are the realizations? That's also very important. And with a nice group like this we have, it's everybody gives a wonderful input. We will learn from each other. So that's the idea behind it. And like next week we got Maharaj Nabi praying for his son. Well, you think what about it, but there's a lot of hidden messages in there that we can discuss. So starting with this, Shukadev Goswami is telling King Parikshit that while Lord Balram was away visiting Nand Maharaj village of Vraj, the ruler of Karusha, King Paundraka, foolishly thinking, I am the supreme Lord Vasudeva, sent a messenger to Lord Krishna. Paundraka was encouraged by the flattery of childish men who told him, You are Vasudeva, the supreme Lord and master of the universe, who have now descended to the earth. He began to truly believe this because his friends told him. Thus, he imagined himself to be the infallible personality of Godhead. The slow-witted King Paundraka sent a messenger to the inscrutable Lord Krishna at Dwarka. Paundraka was acting just like an unintelligent child whom other children are pretending is the king. So Srila Prabhupada mentions that since Lord Ram, Lord Balaram had gone to Nandvaraj, Paundraka foolishly thought that Lord Krishna would be alone and therefore easy to challenge. Thus, he dared to send his crazy message to the Lord. So, this is a message sent by Paundraka. The messenger is reading it out. I am the one and only Lord Vasudeva, and there is no other. It is I who have descended to this world to show mercy to the living beings. Therefore, give up your false name. O Sattva, give up my personal symbols which out of foolishness you now carry, and come to me for shelter. If you don't, then you must give me battle. So this is Paundraka saying to Lord Krishna. Shukdev Goswami said, King Ugrasen and the other members of the assembly laughed loudly when they heard this vain boasting of an unintelligent Paundraka. The personality of Godhead, after enjoying the jokes of the assembly, told the messenger to relay a message to his master Paundraka. You fool, I will indeed let loose the weapons you boast of in this way. O messenger Paundraka, O messenger of Paundraka, you may carry my message to your master. He is a foolish rascal, and I refuse to follow his instructions. I shall never give up the symbols of Vasudeva, especially my disc. I shall use this disc to kill not only Paundraka, but also his followers also. I shall destroy the Paundraka and his foolish associates, who merely constitute a society of cheaters and the cheated. So Paundraka had foolishly told the Supreme to come to him for shelter, but here Lord Krishna tells him that you are not my shelter, but rather you will become the shelter of dogs when they happily feast on your dead body. So this was the message. And when the Lord had thus spoken, the messenger conveyed his insulting reply to his master in its entirety. And Lord Krishna then mounted his chariot and went to the vicinity of Kashi, because they, I knew there's going to be a war after this. Now that he sent this message to him, Paundraka won't take this lying down. He will certainly be coming for battle. So the messenger carried the words of Lord Krishna to his master, Paundraka, who patiently heard all these insults. Without waiting any longer, Lord Krishna immediately started out on his chariot to punish the rascal Paundraka and the king of Kurusha. And because at that time he was living with his friend, the king of Kashi, Krishna surrounded the whole city of Kashi. So that's where he was at the time. And upon observing Lord Krishna's preparation for battle, the mighty warrior Paundraka quickly went out of the city with truthful military divisions. It's amazing, he's a mighty warrior, Paundraka, but yes, he's like a small child, and he's into so much illusion. So Paundraka's friend, the king of Kashi, followed behind, leading the rear guard with 3 Akshoni divisions. Lord Krishna saw the Paundraka was carrying the Lord's own insignia, such as the conch shell, disc, sword, and club, and also an imitation Shranga bow and Shivatsa mark. He wore a mock Kastuba gem, was decorated with garland of forest flowers, and was dressed in upper and lower garments of fine yellow silk. So, he dressed just like Krishna. And his banner bore the image of Garuda, and he wore a valuable crown of gleaming shark-shaped earrings. That's just amazing, isn't it? So Lord Hari laughed heartedly when he saw how the king had dressed up in exact imitation of his own appearance, just like an actor on stage. And when Lord Krishna saw Paundraka imitating his posture and dress, he couldn't check his laughter, and thus he laughed with great satisfaction. So Srila Jiva Goswami points out that it was a benediction from Lord Shiva that enabled Paundraka to imitate the Lord's dress and appearance exactly. A fact gleaned from this is written in the Uttarakhand of Shri Padam Puran. That's where this information comes from. So, having thus derided Paundraka, Lord Krishna destroyed his chariot with his sharp arrows. The Lord then cut off his head with the Sudarshan Chakra, just as Lord Indra lops off a mountain peak with his thunderbolt weapon. So, just very easily just cut his head. And with his arrows, Lord Krishna similarly severed Kashiraj's head, his friend Kashiraj, head from his body, sending it flying into Kashi city like a lotus flower thrown by the wind. Now, there was a reason behind that why Kashiraj's head was sent back to his Kashi city. And here Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti explains why Krishna threw Kashiraj's head in the city. Because as he went off to battle, the king of Kashi had promised the citizens, "My dear residents of Kashi, today I will bring the enemy's head into the midst of the city. Have no doubt of this." The king's sinful queens had also boasted to the maids in waiting, "Today our master will certainly bring the head of the Lord of Dwarka, Lord Krishna." Therefore, the Supreme Lord threw the king's head into the city to astonish the inhabitants. Because the kings made this silly error, and these citizens should learn something from that. And having thus killed envious Paundraka and his ally, Lord Krishna returned to Dwarka. As he entered the city, the Siddhas of heaven chanted his immortal nectarian glories. Now then, so Paundraka is dead, king of Kashi is dead, but king of Kashi's son, Sudakshina, now he wants revenge. So in the meantime, the king of Kashi's son Sudakshina wanted revenge for his father's death. He performed the obligatory funeral rituals for his father. He resolved within himself, within his mind, only by killing my father's murderer can I avenge this death. That's the charitable Sudakshina. See again, they are good people, but they're under illusion. It's the problem. Together with his priests, began worshipping Lord Maheshwar with great attention. Srila Prabhupada writes that Lord of the kingdom of Kashi is Vishwanath, Lord Shiva. So the temple of Lord Vishwanath is still existing in Varanasi, and many thousands of pilgrims still gather daily in that temple. So, satisfied by the worship, the powerful Lord Shiva appeared in the sacred precinct of Avimukta, and this is the name of the area, and offered Sudakshina his choice of benedictions. The prince chose his benediction as a means to slay his father's killer. Well, Lord Shiva told him, accompanied by Brahmins, serve the Dakshinagni fire, the original priest, following the injunctions of the Vicharya ritual. Then the Dakshinagni fire, together with many pramats, will fulfill your desire if you direct it against someone inimical to the Brahmins. So this Dakshinagni fire demon could only destroy somebody who hates Brahmins. So instructed, Sudakshina strictly observed the ritualistic vows and invoked the Abhicharya against Lord Krishna. Now it's clearly stated here that the powerful Dakshinagni would be directed only against someone unfavorable to Brahminical culture, but we know Lord Krishna is most favorable to the Brahmins and in fact maintains the Brahminical culture. So Lord Shiva thus knew that if Sudakshina attempted to direct the power of ritual against Lord Krishna, Sudakshina himself would perish. So thereupon the fire rose up out of the altar pit, assuming the form of an extremely fearsome demon. The fiery creature's beard and tuft of hair were like molten copper, and his eyes emitted blazing hot cinders. His face looked most frightful with its fangs and terrible arched and furrowed brows. As he licked the corners of his mouth with his tongue, the demon shook his flaming trident. So, on legs as tall as palm trees, the monster raced towards Dwarka in the company of ghostly spirits, shaking the ground and burning the world in all directions. Excuse me. Seeing the approach of the fiery demon created by the Vichar ritual, the residents of Dwarka were all struck with fear, like animals terrified by a forest fire. Distraught with fear, the people cried out to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was then playing dice in the royal court. So this demon is turned up in the city, and Krishna is playing dice at the time. Save us, O Lord of the three worlds, from this burning fire burning up the city. And Lord Krishna heard the people's agitation. He saw that even his own men were disturbed. That most worthy giver of shelter simply laughed and told them, "Don't fear, I shall protect you." The Almighty Lord, the internal and external witness of all, understood that the monster had been produced by Lord Shiva from the sacrificial fire. To defeat the demon, Krishna dispatched his disc weapon who was sitting at his side. I mean, Krishna knew everything anyway, what's going on. And so, he was busy, so he sent his Sudarshan Chakra to sort it out. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti comments that Lord Krishna, playing the part of a king, was absorbed in a gambling match and didn't want to be disturbed by such an insignificant matter as the attack of a fiery demon. He killed so many demons before, this was just another demon. So he simply dispatched his chakra weapon and ordered him to take the necessary steps. So frustrated by the power of Lord Krishna's weapon, the fiery creature produced by black magic turned his face away and retreated. So, Sudarshan Chakra got the better of him, and the fiery creature started running back. Created for violence, the demon then returned to Varanasi, where he surrounded the city and then burned Sudakshina and his priests to death, even though Sudakshina was his creator. So, after burning the entire city of Varanasi, Lord Vishnu's Chakra returned to the city side of Shri Krishna, whose actions are effortless. So, it seemed that at this stage, the Chakra and the demon were doing the same thing, destroying Varanasi and the Sudakshina and his priests. So it's mentioned that any mortal who recounts his, so you heard this pastime, and it's mentioned in Bhagavatam that any mortal, which is us, who recounts his heroic pastime of Lord Uttam Shloks, or who simply hears it attentively, will become freed from all sins. So just hearing this pastime of Lord Krishna is so purifying for us. And in the spring month, 1,000 times more purifying. So Shripad comments as follows about the demon that having failed to set fire to Dwarka, the fiery demon went back to Varanasi, the kingdom of Kashiras. As a result of his return, all the priests who had helped instruct the black art of mantras, along with the employer Sudakshina, were burnt into ashes by the glaring effulgence of the fiery demon. And according to the methods of black art mantras instructed in the Tantra, if the mantra fails to kill the enemy, then because it must kill someone. So it's been invoked for killing, it has to kill someone. It kills the original creator. So it's very risky, this black art. If you don't succeed, then you end up giving your own life. So Sudakshina was the originator and the priests assisted him. Therefore, all of them were burnt to ashes. This is the way of the demons. The demons create something to kill God, but by the same weapon, the demons themselves are killed. So this is what happened with Sudakshina. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam mentions King Paundraka because, a bit like Kansa, he was always thinking about Krishna, even though negatively, he was always thinking about Krishna. So, by constantly meditating upon the Supreme Lord, this is the amazing thing that, if you think about Krishna even in a negative way, it has some benefit after all. Paundraka shattered all his material bonds because that's all he was thinking about. He was not interested in anything else, just constantly thinking about Lord Krishna. And indeed, by imitating Lord Krishna's appearance, O king, he ultimately became Krishna conscious. So this is Sukadeva Goswami telling Maharaj Parikshit that King Paundraka, he ultimately became Krishna conscious. So Srila Prabhupada writes that as far as Paundraka was concerned, somehow or other he always thought of Vasudeva by forcefully dressing himself in imitation of the Lord. Therefore, Paundraka achieved Sarupya. Now, this Sarupya is one of the 5 kinds of liberation and was thus promoted to the Vaikuntha planets. This is amazing. And where the devotees have the same bodily features as Vishnu, with 4 hands holding the 4 symbols. Actually, his meditation was concentrated on the Vishnu form, but because he thought himself as Lord Vishnu, he was offensive. After being killed by Krishna, however, that offense was also mitigated. So he became purified by getting killed by Krishna. Thus, he was given Sarupya liberation and he attained the same form as the Lord. And even getting killed by the Lord is auspicious. So, just quickly, I tell you there's 5 types of liberation. There's Salokya, Sarasati, Sarupya, Samipya, and Sayujya. So in Salokya, in this liberation, one gains residence on one of the Vaikuntha planets where 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 the Narayan form resides. So you get the same planet as the Lord. Sarasati, when one attains this liberation, he acquires the same opulences as the Lord in Vaikuntha planets. Sarupya, as we just discussed, you get the same form as the Lord. Samipya, in this liberation, one becomes a personal associate of Lord and stays in his direct association as a friend. And Sayujya, this is the liberation attained by yogis and jnanis. In this liberation, one becomes one with the Brahmjyoti, the dazzling effulgence of the body of the Lord, or he becomes one with the Lord himself by losing all individuality. Attaining this kind of liberation is not very hard. The enemies of the Lord, such as Kansa, attained this liberation. So they uh, just went into the Brahmjyoti, became one with the Brahmjyoti. So that's probably the easiest one to get. But we have our own personal desires. We don't think about Krishna, definitely not in a good way, all the time. And if we do, even the atheists probably think about Krishna sometimes in a bad way, not all the time. So, they not like to get the liberation from Lord Krishna. So that is the case with this, and would like to quickly discuss this with the devotees. What do you think, and what do we learn from this? So, we start with who would like to start? Is that Vijay Prabhu? Is it Vijay Prabhu? Is that you, Prabhu?
Haribol, yes.
Hey, Prabhuji, nice to hear your voice.
Yes, thank you. Jai to you as well, and to everybody listening.
Thank you, Prabhu. And anything you would like to mention?
Well, I would say that this Paundraka, he seems to be so advanced in one way, so much thinking of Krishna so much that he wanted to be like him and everything.
Yeah.
Although he was being offensive, still he was doing it in so much dedication as well, on one side.
Yeah.
So he got liberation by being killed by Krishna, and also by thinking of him also. So I don't know which one came first, but it makes me think that he was certainly, in a way, special as well.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
So do you think it was the Lord's mercy that he was always imitating him?
Yes, I think because it's a Leela as well, I think, and he's doing this to show us as well how to be so dedicated to Krishna. And Krishna was giving him all the mercy as well, I think. Definitely.
Yes. Brilliant. Thank you. I mean, it was Lord Shiva who gave him those facilities to imitate, but I guess Lord Shiva is the the biggest Vaishnav, isn't he? So anything they do, he's always to a benefit, even though it might seem like it's not to a benefit, but it just seems like in the long run, it does come into a benefit, isn't it?
Indeed.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. And
Thank you.
thank you, Prabhuji. And Sarveshi Mataji,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Ji.
I think he was imitating Lord Krishna
Yeah.
because of the book.
Yeah. Mataji, can't hear you. Hari bol.
So why?
Mataji, we lost sound for a minute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Mataji. It just keeps the volume keeps going off. Are you still there?
Haribol.
Yes, Mataji. Carry on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, he imitated Lord Krishna all the time, and people believed him. But
Yeah.
why he want to challenge Krishna? It's in the Padma Puran that one day Narad Muni came to visit Paundraka, and he said, "Oh, you are thinking you are Lord Krishna, Lord Vasudeva Krishna. But how can be two Vasudeva Krishna? You should go and challenge him, defeat him. Then you can call yourself Vasudeva Krishna. Otherwise, how would people know you are? Because there are two Vasudeva Krishnas." And that's why he challenged Krishna, that because he wanted to become just one Krishna, one Vasudeva Krishna, not two Krishna.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Paundraka, that says people who don't surrender to Krishna when they are full of false ego and pride. So that was the case with Paundraka. And seven Sudarshan Chakra went Varanasi or Kashi.
Yeah.
Lord Shiva resided there, so he fled there, and he came to Navdeep Dham, and there's a place called Kondrup Deep, and he stayed there. There's a place called Harihar Chhatra in the God Deep, and if there's a deity of Lord Shiva, Parvati, and Lord Vishnu and Lakshmi.
Yes.
So that's why I say he didn't like Sudarshan Chakra in the city, so that's why he came here. And anybody who chants Hare Krishna mantra over there, Lord Shiva blesses them in
Is that
Harihar
Rudradip?
Chatra.
Mataji? You mean Rudradip?
Sorry?
In Rudradip? In Rudradvip? Which part of the Navdvips?
Godruma Drip. Godruma Dip.
Rudradip.
It's a Harihar Chatra there.
I got you. Okay.
Harihar Chatra there.
Very good. Very
And
good.
it, that's what I can say. He didn't want to surrender Krishna because he was full of false ego and pride.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. So
Because of the boon he had from Lord Shiva, he thought nobody can challenge him, but nobody is greater than Krishna. He's the greatest and he is powerful. He got 6 appearances.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank
Beauty, wealth, renunciation, stand and knowledge. He got everything. Nobody can defeat him.
Well, that's right.
But people are they are under illusion. When they get power, they think they can do anything, but they can't. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Prem Prakash Prabhu, are you available today to speak? Okay, I think normally. Prabhu, are you available?
Yes, Ravi, I'm available today. Somehow I tried my best to
Okay.
do my things quickly. So,
Okay.
so,
Thank you.
I
Thank you,
mean,
Tony. What do you think, Prabhu? What do we learn from this?
uh, Paundraka, I mean, as there's a lot many good points already told about Paundraka. And probably I was having almost same difficulty with that. Krishna sees only good, basically, and not the bad part of the one's action. So thinking about Krishna all the time actually is also beneficial in whatever sense one is being done. And eventually Krishna destroys if there is any ego or anything is there. Same is with Krishna and the others. Even Guru Maharaj was saying that if if one is constantly engaged in remembering Krishna, whatsoever he is thinking of, he will be given mercy. But someone who is not always engaged in thinking of Krishna, and half of the times they always try to criticize Krishna, then they are just opening their gate for hell. So I mean, whatsoever service is done, it should be always in the favor, always thinking about Krishna. So that is one important point which is important.
Sure.
And Krishna said that even Pondrik is not surrendering to him, but he's so absorbed in him that he got so much absorbed in thinking of Krishna that he started considering himself as Krishna basically. So it's still a different kind of bhakti, which I don't know if someone has explained or if it don't even exist or not, but it is one of the demonstration that um, I mean one it is one of the Leela where he's demonstrating that if one is always thinking about Krishna in some way, they can still get Surupya liberation, what you just said basically. So just another thing that's just coming onto my mind is if anyone is trying to be engaged in Krishna or even not engaged in Krishna, one should never criticize whatever position he is doing in the as a material activity, but always try to encourage him to serve Krishna and somehow or other. One should make plans that everyone should get opportunity to serve Krishna, whether they are offensive or not. Because once Krishna wants to destroy all the, once Krishna wants not to consider offense, he can do that. And once Krishna wants to desert, uh, I mean, if you ask more desires that the person loses all his offenses and false ego, he can do that as well. So it just on the mercy of Krishna how the things will go. Like Krishna says that if anyone wants to remember Krishna, he will be able to do so. And if he doesn't, then he wouldn't be able to do so.
Thank you so much,
So
Prabhu. Yeah, I'm just saying that. I mean, Paundraka, he was all, I mean, it's not something that we are able to do. We're not able to think of Krishna in a good way or a bad way. It was, we don't have the obsession with God, and and to get to that position, like I say, if you're thinking negatively, then you're going to end up in hell. So it's better not to try to think negatively about Krishna, because, like I say, it was his mercy that he killed him himself, personally killed him. But that's a special mercy, isn't it? Because normally you would end up in hell if you're blaspheming Krishna, then you're more likely to end up in hell rather than become his personal associate or
So Prabhu,
his Surupya.
incident for us. That's really good to understand. Prabhupada is so much that he has given us safest path and ensuring that whatever endeavors we do, Krishna will actually try to I mean, with the mercy of Prabhupada, with the approach of Prabhupada, only Krishna will able to forget our all misdoings and then probably will be able to accept us.
Thank you, Babaji. Thank you so much. We have Partha Prabhu. Partha Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice class.
Very good
Uh,
good pastime.
yeah, I felt like only I mean all the points are already been discussed, Prabhu. But one point I felt like, I mean, never popped up by the words of other people around you,
Yeah.
because even in Paundraka case, he was popped up by his friends
Yes.
who said you actually you are Vasudeva, you are only Vasudeva. That is what made him feel like, yes, I am only Vasudeva. Similarly, I think when I was reading Kamsa's story, Prabhu, in the previous week, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, because at one point in time, even Kamsa was at a point where he wanted to release his sister and brother-in-law, but actually he was actually popped up by the words of his subordinates, where he said that no, you have to kill, you have to find that, because otherwise he will come and kill you. So we'll help you in finding him and killing him. That is where he got that intensity again, that I have to find him and kill him. So never get puffed up by the people around you, because you have to go by the Vedic scriptures and then follow the Vedic scriptures. That's it, Prabhu. That's what I thought.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you. So you're right. I mean, we want association. We want association of devotees, but that doesn't always mean that we can't. Because if you're especially a Grista, then you have to associate with the public as well. We have to associate with material people. But
Yeah.
when they say don't associate with material people, it doesn't mean that you don't meet anybody. You see somebody coming, you cross the road, or you don't meet your relatives who are not Krishna consciousness. That it doesn't mean that. So the idea is where Paundraka was going wrong. He was obsessed with Krishna, but it was very sour relationship, because when he was associating with his other kings or friends, association means taking in the ideas of other people. Association doesn't mean that you're physically associating with somebody, your relatives, or you're just trying to ignore them, shut the door when they come to your house. You associate with them, but you don't take in their thoughts or thinking, what they and the ideas they give you. You stick to your own ideas from the scriptures that we are following, and we should be strong in our determination that we know that the scriptures are telling the right thing, and association devotees that they are telling us the right thing, and that's what we have to follow. So you can associate with people, you just don't associate with their negative ideas. That's the idea. Yeah, does that make sense, bro? So it's the ideas that we don't associate with or from other people.
Nice. They're very nice, Prabhu.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna Prabhu.
Jai Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Krishna. Pranam, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to everybody. Yeah. How is everybody? Okay. Okay. One point here, Prabhu, the association is a good thing you're discussing. Yeah. We shouldn't associate with materialistic people, but we have to let them associate with us.
Absolutely. Yes.
This is the very, very important thing. when you associate with somebody, you have to follow their instruction, their everything.
Yes.
But when somebody associates with you, then they have to follow you. What you are doing, you have to do is. So this is the very important thing. That's how association is going on. A lot of people mistaken. They have done, we have to do associate with the material critic. No, you shouldn't do. They have to do. They have to associate with us. Then what we'll do, we'll do. Like, for example, I said, if somebody, materialistic people invited us to their house, if you go there, what they will do, we have to do it. Because we are in their house.
Sure, sure.
Okay, yeah. If we invited them to our house, what we'll do, they have to do it. So the same thing, association is like exactly like this. Always you think that you have to associate with the devotees, then we'll follow the devotees, pure devotees. You associate with the pure devotees, then we'll follow them and we'll learn them. So we have to associate with the devotees, advanced devotees, and the materialistic people have to associate with us, the devotees.
Absolutely.
Then we'll learn something. Yeah. So this is the most important thing. We sometimes mistaken.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Pooja. Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much, Prabhu. Thank you. Absolutely right. So this is what we're saying, that you obviously you have to meet people as a grasta. You can't hide from people. You have to meet them, but don't meet their ideas. Let them meet your ideas. That's the challenge for us. And in that way, it's like Srila Prabhupada, when he went to America, he said he knew the American people were very intelligent. He realized he has to be more intelligent, because if he wants them to take his association, then he has to be more intelligent than them, because that's the only way an intelligent person will associate with you. If you are smarter than them, then they will take association. Otherwise, think, why should I waste my time with this person, isn't it? So that's the idea. And how do we build our intelligence? We build it by learning from scriptures and discussing like we are discussing now. You get you strengthen your intelligence by knowledge, transcendental knowledge, and that's the aim. Okay, so time is going by. I don't want to spend more time discussing this. There's one thing I have. Parveen Mataji was asking last time that we are committing sins all the time, and how can we overcome these problems? Is there something we can do? So we're discussing chanting, of course, but I have found something. Parveen Mataji, are you there?
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mother, you have found something that I don't know whether you can do it, but I found something in Krishna book. I think you might be interested. I know your daughter wanted to know as well. What should we do? We are all the time committing sins. What can we do? And I found something in Krishna book. I think you might be interested in. So I'm just gonna share that with you. Can everybody see this? Can everybody see this?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can see.
Okay, so it says here at the top, in one palace he found Krishna. This is Narad Muni when he went to visit Lord Krishna in his palaces. He says, one palace he found Krishna offering oblations to the sacrificial fire and performing the ritualistic ceremonies of the Vedas as enjoined for householders. In another palace he found Krishna performing the Pancha Yagya sacrifice. I don't know what it is, but this is a remedy. Pancha Yagya sacrifice, which is compulsory for a householder. This yagya is also known as Pancha Suna. Knowingly or unknowingly, everyone, especially the householder, commits 5 kinds of sinful activities. When we receive water from a water pitcher, we kill many germs that are in it. Similarly, when we use a grinding machine or eat food, we kill many germs. When we sweeping a floor or igniting a fire, we kill many germs. And when we walk on the street, we kill many ants and other insects, consciously or unconsciously. In all our different activities, we are killing. Therefore, it is incumbent upon every householder to perform the Pancha Suna sacrifice to rid himself of the reactions to such sinful activities. So I don't know if anybody's ever had this yagya, Pancha Suna yagya, but that seems to be the remedy for this issue that we were discussing that day. You were asking what can we do that we're committing sins all the time? What can we do? And Prabhupada has given the remedy there that you do the Panchaswana Yagya. I don't know if Nityanand Prabhu knows anything about this, Prabhu. You heard this before?
No, I don't know, Prabhu.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does. Prabhupada mentioned it, but I don't know. Well, this is Krishna was doing
But I think
1,000 years ago.
I think Krishna is doing it, yeah. But it is I don't know. Prabhupada never asked us to do this. Never ask any
Yeah.
because it is in present time it is not possible to do all these things. So this is why he never introduced these things. He said that stand, just stand. He is here because this, which is not possible. Is Prabhupada never like to introduce all those things. Yeah,
Absolutely.
because it will be chaos. It will be chaos. It will be chaos.
Yeah.
And,
It's very expensive and complicated. You can't find a priest nowadays who know these things. These are complex yagyas. So, but
even people are saying there's no time to chant and endings, and this you do a sacrifice is lot of things to do, and it is really impossible for us to do all these things here.
Yeah. So
but
conclusion.
Krishna did it is different here. Yeah.
Yes, sorry, Prabhu.
Now Krishna did is different. He showed that Krishna is doing a householder, perfect householder. This is his thing, but so many things Krishna did, it is not possible for us to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Absolutely.
So these are Prabhupada took the summary, all of these things, summary all these things, and he introduced all these things. Do this, it is enough. Prabhupada said, whatever I introduced is, if you do this, is enough to go back to Godhead.
Oh, Haribol, Haribol. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you all. Okay, so next we have Maharaj Nabi prays for his son, and his son is Rishibadev. So it's very interesting pastime there, and we will discuss that. And this Sunday we have His Grace Nitai Kirtan Prabhu giving class on the adventures of Ram and Lakshman. So please join on Sunday as well. 10:30 we start Kirtans. So look forward to that. And now we can do a couple of rounds. I think today, who's starting today? I think it's Sarvesha Mataji.
Nama Om Padaya Tapasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namane
Amine.
Gauravani Picham Sonia Badi Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare